101.7 The One makes tomato and dill soup and cheese biscuits with the help of kitchen whiz and Mann.
Hi everyone, it's Julie B from 101.7 The One, and we're going to be doing a little cooking. If you're wondering what the crown is all about, it's because we're making soup, and I love soup. In fact, some people even call me the soup queen around the office because I make it so often. But I'm here with Mann in Lucknow, and Ann has a fantastic cookbook, not just soup in it, but all sorts of delicious things. And because it's soup month, we're going to be making some soup from Ann's book, and it's called Ann's Favorites.
Yes.
Okay, so over 1,200 copies sold. That means if you haven't got one yet, you better hurry up and get one. Okay, what are we going to be making today?
Well, today we're going to make tomato dill because it's one of my favorites. All of these are favorites, but it's also really simple. And we are going to start by showing you the chicken broth, which we can all do in a short time, and show you how easy it is.
And
right?
use it in so many soups.
Yeah, for sure.
I use it all the time.
You have over 2 pounds of bones, and that's what the recipe calls for. So
perfect.
Mostly have the bones pretty well covered, right?
And these are the cloves. Ann suggests sticking them right into your onion when you're throwing it in, and you can throw that in whole if you prefer. We're putting carrot and parsnip right now. We also want a 1/4 cup of fresh parsley. Yeah, when you're making a stock, you can substitute. And when you're making soup, you can substitute so many different things. Or leave things out or make it your own. Because we want to use the leaves when you're making stock, because every bit of the celery is good and gives you some flavor. Sometimes I even use it in soups that I'm going to puree. 1 whole hot pepper.
While they're cooking, but
we'll just throw in that little hot pepper. Gives it a little bit of zip when you're making your soup. That's it. 1 to 2 fresh sage leaves.
Or
anise seed.
Yeah, and that's something a friend of mine told me, and I don't put too much in because it can overpower it.
Because it's
but
the
you
licorice.
you just want that little bit, and people say, "Oh, what's that in that stock?" Just in the way in the background, right? So
yeah, and when we say a little bit, this is 1/8 of a teaspoon, so you really aren't putting too much in there with 12 or 14 cups of water. And then a sprig of fresh rosemary. If you don't have the fresh, especially this time of year, you can use some of the dried stuff.
Like we have this on the gas stove, but we can just put this all in the slow cooker, and you could leave it overnight, or you could leave it while you go to work and come back, strain it later, whatever way you want to do.
Absolutely, because normally when you make a turkey stock or chicken stock, the longer it boils.
And especially at a low temperature is really good.
Yeah.
But today we've got it all in the pot. We're just going to put it on the back burner and go on to make the soup with stock I have frozen.
Already prepared.
Because I'll just freeze this to use.
So just like the TV shows, suddenly we have already prepared stock over here. Okay. So now we're going to take some of that chicken stock that we were making and make the tomato soup. It's tomato dill soup from Ann's Favorites cookbook. And we're going to start with the butter. Of course, recipes always have measurements, but when you're making soup and a lot of other things that you make, you can just kind of use what you think you need for what you're doing. So this is probably less than the tablespoon of butter that we need. We'll put that in, and a tablespoon of olive oil. You can measure if you like, but we're not really going to do that.
No, the measurements are just there if you're not really sure how much we would put in. It gives you an idea.
Okay, so after that, we're going to let that warm up a little bit and throw in our chopped onion.
I learned about making good soup is that at this stage of the game, once you get that garlic in there and the onions started, we would do what my dad always said. I mean, you can leave it just on there, but I would tend to then sweat the vegetables. That was an old urban peasant TV show. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Sweat the vegetables?
Sweat the vegetables, he'd say, and that was you just put it on the lowest heat and put the lid on with just the oil. And then all the flavor from the vegetables is going into the oil. And I would say, I always do that with the soup. Nice. Smelling nice, too, eh?
Oh, yeah. Does it ever? Meld
just
some
for
flavors.
Minutes while we chop the next. We need the tomatoes chopped next, maybe? I just want to chop them up so that they're, you know, not any big chunks in there.
Right. And they only have to be defrosted enough to get a knife through them, really.
That's right, that's right. And they're actually chopped better when they're not fully thawed.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier than when they get mushy and full of liquid.
It's true, but then they make delicious bits in there.
When some of our broth is still frozen because it's homemade, so it came out of the freezer. Nice job.
So we thought while the soup was doing its thing, we would make some tea biscuits to go with it. So we want 2 1/4 cups of the all-purpose flour.
Here's a knife for you.
Thank you. Yes.
You'd want to
You do want to measure a little bit better than you do with soups.
For soup, that's right. You want to make sure you...
So then you make sure it's all filled in, and then you scrape off the top so it's the right amount. You need a tablespoon of the baking powder. And half a teaspoon of the baking soda. So 2 teaspoons of white sugar. Then we used a half teaspoon for the salt. And then we need a 1/3 cup of margarine, which is already here. So now we're going to cut in, as they say, the butter, the margarine. 1 cup of milk. Now I see here raisins are coming up on the list.
Well, raisins, cheese, or nothing. They're all optional, and we've chosen to have cheese today.
Yes,
to
we
go with
have.
our soup. Did was figure out, you know, cover the top with it, and that was probably how much cheese you wanted.
Okay, and then you want a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. So now you can just get that mixed in, and then I'll get your cutter.
Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't bake much. But I do enjoy eating it. And we have a biscuit cutter here. And of course, when I was a kid growing up, my mother used a glass.
Overmixed.
Nobody wants tough biscuits, do they?
I was just going to say, not too many people complain anyway. And once you get to the last one, is that enough for 1 or 2?
1 or 2.
Yeah, if you take one out, then what I'd do is just put all the rest of it into an ugly biscuit and bake it alongside.
It, you know, looks don't matter, and it's what's on the inside that counts.
That's exactly right.
Now we want to add the dill, the sugar, salt, pepper, and baking soda, all the last little bits on the list of ingredients.
Now in the recipe we have like that the sugar is optional. And so I put in just 1 teaspoon to start.
1/4 teaspoon baking soda. And it foams up, does some really cool stuff.
Yeah, just like your volcano experiment. We're really just trying to get some of the acid out of those tomatoes. So that's what you expect it to do. And if you're using canned tomatoes, you probably wouldn't need to use the soda or the sugar.
Now a teaspoon of salt.
I'll get you
1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then for the dill, it says 2 tablespoons of fresh dill or 2 teaspoons of dry. And Anne has her garden, so then she takes her dill and puts it in the freezer.
Or even sometimes if we don't have it in the garden, like I would buy the fresh dill at the grocery store, but you don't often need so much as you get. So then just chop it all up, use what you bought fresh, and just put the rest in a bag and label it.
That's yummy.
Do you think
Maybe
you want
a little more
sugar?
Just a little more, maybe.
I think so too. And then we want to let it simmer for the 20 minutes just for all those flavors to get together.
Yes.
And it won't hurt if we have extra.
Instead of putting a full tablespoon, if we put 2 teaspoons, that's like 2/3 of a tablespoon.
I think so. Because these tomatoes are the sweeter variety, like those orange ones are a lot sweeter than some of the red ones you get. You won't.
And that's the thing. So you could make this, and then someone will make it, and it'll taste a little different because of your
different
tomatoes.
kind of tomatoes, yeah. Every time. So that's good. We're going to let that simmer now. And when our biscuits come out, we'll have lunch.
All right, so our soup is all done, simmered, and looks delicious. With the multicolored tomatoes, that's a nice touch. But if you don't have that, it's still going to be delicious with all your red tomatoes. And the tea biscuits with cheese, look at them. So good. I'm going to try that first. And that's delicious. All right, let's try this. That is so good.
It tastes like summer, doesn't it?
Yeah. Tomato and dill and onion and garlic. And that is so good. Wow, that's very good. I love it. I'd never think of dill in a tomato soup. Well, I don't know if Anne wants everybody coming over to her house for lunch, but it's certainly a delicious place to go. Thanks for having us, Anne. Anne Mann, and don't forget to pick up your copy of Anne's Favorites, the cookbook. We're going to be giving some away on 101.7 The One. Bon appetit!
Visit 1017theone.ca for your chance to win the cookbook Anne's Favorites. Anne's Favorites is available at Cliff's Plumbing and Heating, Green's Meat Market in Lucknow, Chesley Grocery Store, The Kitchen Cupboard and Icebox in Listowel, Fincher's in Kincardine and Goderich, and Sewing Galore in Wingham.